Hey there, friends! Today's story is about a 6-year-old who outsmarted every single grown-up in the room. Every single one. This story is called Cao Chong Weighs the Elephant. A long, long time ago, in ancient China, there lived a boy named Cao Chong. He was only 6 years old, but his brain was like a flashlight in a dark room. While everyone else bumped into the furniture, Cao Chong found the light switch. One morning, the palace was extra buzzy. Guards stood extra straight. Ministers fixed their hats. A visitor was bringing a very special gift for Cao Chong's dad, General Cao Cao. And then, the whole crowd gasped. Into the courtyard came an elephant. Not a small elephant, not a medium elephant, a gigantic elephant. Ears like giant fans, feet like tree stumps, and every single step, boom, boom, boom. The elephant lifted its trunk and let out a honk so loud that every pigeon on the roof popped off like popcorn. Boing, boing, boing! Cao Cao walked around the elephant, looking it up and down. Then he turned to his advisors. "So, how much does this elephant weigh? Who can tell me?" And just like that, the whole courtyard went silent. The advisors, all these super smart grown-ups, looked at each other like kids who forgot to study for a test. One advisor cleared his throat. General, our biggest scale can only handle a few 100 pounds. This elephant is many thousands." He sat back down very quickly. A second advisor jumped up. "I know! We could weigh one leg and then multiply." The elephant slowly turned its head and just stared at him. The advisor sat back down too. A third advisor leaped to his feet. "We could build a giant scale." "How long would that take?" Perhaps many months? So the elephant will have a beard by then." The elephant sneezed very loudly. It did not seem to like this plan either. Cao Cao rubbed his forehead. Nobody had the answer. But one small person was very, very quiet. Cao Chong stood near the river. He looked at the elephant. He looked at the river. He looked at the big wooden boat tied at the dock. Elephant. River. Boat. And then, ding! It hit him, like a light bulb turning on in his brain. He had it. He had the answer. Cao Chong stepped out from the crowd. "Dad, I know how to weigh the elephant!" One advisor raised an eyebrow. "Him? He's 6. We couldn't figure it out, and he can?" Cao Chong looked right at him. "Yes, and right now, all the adults are losing." Even Cao Cao laughed at that one. "All right, son, show us your plan." Cao Chong led everyone down to the river. He pointed at the big wooden boat. "Step 1. Guide the elephant onto the boat." The elephant lumbered forward, one heavy step at a time. Boom, boom, boom. The boat sank lower, and lower, and lower. Cao Chong knelt at the edge of the boat. Very carefully, he drew a line on the side, right where the water touched the wood. He tapped it with his finger. Remember this line, everyone. This line is the key. Then he had the elephant walk back off. The boat bobbed right back up. Now the line was way above the water. Step 2. Bring the rocks. Workers carried big river rocks onto the boat. 1 basket, 2 baskets. Hey, want to help Cao Chong count the rocks? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The boat kept sinking lower. That line got closer and closer. Cao Chong crouched right at the edge, eyes locked on that line. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep going, we're not at the line yet. 11, 12, 13. The line was getting closer. Almost there. So close. Stop, Cao Chong yelled. The water is right at the line. Everyone crowded around to look. Sure enough, the boat sat at the exact same level as when the elephant had been on it. Cao Chong stood up and turned to face the crowd. When the elephant stood on the boat, it pushed the boat down to this line. Now the rocks push the boat to the same line. So the rocks weigh exactly as much as the elephant. Weigh the rocks in small batches on normal scales. Add up all the weights. And that is how much the elephant weighs. For a second, nobody said anything. Then it was like a bomb went off, but in a good way. Oh, that's brilliant! He replaced the elephant with rocks. Same weight, but you can weigh rocks one at a time. No giant scale needed. A 6-year-old figured this out. The whole courtyard erupted, everyone clapping and cheering for Cao Chong. The math officers got to work. Batch by batch, they weighed and wrote down every number. There was a lot of adding. One worker whispered, I counted this basket 3 times. Every time it weighs exactly 1 backache. At last, they had the total. The elephant weighed over 4,000 pounds. Heavier than a car. Heavier than 20 grown-ups put together. Cao Cao walked over to his son and knelt down. Son, I am so proud of you. Cao Chong grinned from ear to ear, his cheeks turning pink. He looked like the happiest kid in all of China. The elephant seemed very pleased with this news. It flapped its giant ears, grabbed a melon from a snack cart, and looked deeply, deeply satisfied. And this is why people still tell this story, over 1,000 years later. Cao Chong didn't panic. He didn't guess. He didn't give up. He turned one giant, impossible problem into many small ones he could solve. You can do the same thing. When a problem feels way too big, take a breath. Look closely and solve it. One stone at a time. And that, my friends, is the story of Cao Chong weighs the elephant. Remember, when a tough problem shows up, don't panic. Look around, think it through, and don't be afraid to share your idea, even if you're the youngest person in the room. Your brain is more powerful than you think. See you next time, friends.